Being famous is a delicate balance, though. You don't want anything to ruin it unless it's a last resort, Dusk reasoned. Her tone of her voice became calmer again. You care too much of what others think of you lately, Dusk, Luna said. You used to be empowered of yourself that you didn't care what anyone else thought, which is awesome, and I always admired it, but ever since our album came out, it feels like all you do is care about what your friends think and how famous you are. What do you think, Thorn? You've been really quiet, Gus noticed. She didn't want to say anything that would go against Dusk, said, since Bridget, Nia, and Sam were probably listening. But she didn't want to support Dusk because she was behaving awfully. I agree. I think it's something we need to work on before we did anything, but this is all fictional. Because no one's going to leave the band, Thorn said. She tried to keep her comments short, as if they were vaguely about to support Dusk, but also stayed pretty natural. Oh, that's so frustrating to me, Luna pointed out. Dusk isn't even being supportive in hypothetical situation. Imagine how bad would it be as if one of us was really struggling and had to leave. Oh my god, Luna, Dusk let out an annoyed sigh. You're just taking every my reasonable comments and making them so extreme as humanly possible. All I'm saying is that we need to work out the well-being of us before we make any decisions. As a fame and factor in your well-being, Luna challenged. Yeah, of course it is. Financial well-being is an important factor, Dusk responded. Well, you might have if you end up quitting your job at Jack's the second before we became famous, like a moron. Luna raised her voice. Hey, that was below the belt, Dusk shouted. I'm afraid I agree with Dusk, Gus replied. Both of you girls are worked up right now, so I think it's best we set this aside for a little while. Maybe we could talk about more at the zoo once you've both got a chance to calm down. Fine, Luna crossed her arms. Thorn never seen Luna that upset before. Even though the black-haired hex girl wasn't going to admit it, Luna was rightfully upset about this. Dusk had really changed from the fame in the past month, and becoming the borderline narcissistic. Of course, it would be something they would have to really think about if one of them had to quit the band. She meant that she would say regardless of what Bridget told her to do. It was important to make sure that everyone was comfortable before a rash decision was made. However, Gus made an excellent decision that Dusk didn't seem to be placing her own fame against the same value as her friends of her happiness. That was very troubling to Thorn, as she never needed to leave the band for any reason. She wouldn't want Dusk's love of fame to be placed over her happiness. No one deserved that. After a quick lunch at Segovini's restaurant, Gus drove them all down to the zoo this afternoon. Lunch had been very awkward, as Dusk and Luna didn't talk to each other at all. In fact, they actively avoided sitting next to each other, and chose the opposite side of the table. This behavior continued throughout their time at the zoo, where Thorn felt a bit happy that she wasn't the only one who got to say to Luna, but it horrified her to know that Dusk was actually felt those horrible things that Bridget wanted her to say. She also felt bad for being one who was next up the conversation that crossed Luna and Dusk in the fight in the first place. That tiger's really sweet looking, isn't it? Sam pointed out, as they passed one of the last cages they haven't seen yet. Yet the tiger licked its right paw, and it was curled up near a large den. I wouldn't know. The tiger's a certain direction I'm not looking at right now, Dusk said, as Luna passed their cage. That's just being petty, Dusk, Luna challenged. Well, she's right, you know, Gus said. I don't mean to insult you, Gus, but you've been behaving quite immaturely lately. Why am I the bad guy in this? Dusk snapped. If I said anyone I ever needed to leave the band, we would have a talk about and weigh our options. What's wrong with that? You were making it 2 minutes ago. You said a fame and dedicated balance. Isn't there to say anything good reason if you ever wanted to leave the band? So basically, you're saying your fame is more important than your friend's well-being? Luna argued. I never said that. I'm just happy that we'll have to consider the impacts for someone leaving the band if they have to, and the other two. Dusk shot back. Yeah, but what if I'm not happy? What if leaving just makes me less famous? Dusk created, being a hypothetical scenario. Well, that would hurt me, so you would have to figure each out before you hurt more. Dusk rationalized. God, so basically you're just saying there's any way if any of us could avoid ever leaving the band. If you want to be in a bit more, because it would make you less famous. That's selfish, Dusk. It would be very different if ending the band hurts you because you wanted to keep making music. But all you care about is your stupid dream of being famous. Just admit it. The band and the fame have become obnoxious to you. Luna dared. Well, duh. We've got to please from our fans because the fame comes from them and the loving band. Dusk encountered courage. Making music should be our favorite part, though. We have to separate from our fame and not make the music to please people. Luna's voice got more annoyed. We shouldn't care about the fame if it means not caring about the music we're making. The recognition is becoming more important to you than music. I don't want our music to turn into a product instead of a work of art. If you guys keep arguing all day, we're going to miss the concert by the time you're finished, Thorn pointed out. Thorn's right, Gus agreed. Is everyone feeling hungry for dinner? Not really, Thorn said. Yeah, me neither. We just had lunch like 4 hours ago, Sam agreed. We should probably at least eat something before the concert, though, Sam pointed out. Wouldn't want you girls to get hungry on stage. There's a small dedication not too far from the theater, Gus suggested. Chapo's. It's a place where that's been around for hundreds of years. We could each split a sandwich with another person if you're looking for a lighter meal. That'd be perfect, Bridget exclaimed. I'd be up for that, Thorn agreed. If she were honest with herself, she wasn't particularly hungry either. She hated how Dusk and Luna were arguing so much, and Nis worried about it for multiple reasons. Firstly, if none of them ever thought about this much before their 4 years they had been friends. Secondly, they weren't against what Bridget, Nia, and Sam wanted. Dusk and Luna fighting created a friction of the band, and Thorn was completely worried that Bridget would try to intervene by forcing Thorn to take Dusk's side, even though she considered Dusk's perspective enthusiastical and wrong. And that's the story of Great-Grandpa Lewis, the male waiter apparently named Brandon, from his name tag informed. That's really interesting, Brandon, Gus nodded. I can't imagine having to come to the United States all the way from Russia just to start a business. Yeah, thank you for sharing with us, Thorn appreciated. No problem. I'll be back with your sandwiches. You said you wanted no tomato or mustard on yours, right? Brandon inquired of Thorn. Yep, that's right, Thorn confirmed. You don't like dry cereal, but you like dry sandwiches? Sam observed. Yeah, I guess I have a quirky food tastes, Thorn shrugged. She had tried to behave just as she had before finding out the horrible secret, but it was difficult. Sam was only about to respond with something else, but her attention soon turned to the doorbell, which it dinged to a group of 3 teenagers, delicate scene. Previously, they had been the only customers, hence why Brandon had time to recount the story of his great-grandfather. Oh my gosh! The squeaky-voiced teen wearing a red shirt and blue jeans exclaimed. It's the Hexed girls! Whoa, you're right, Dean. A girl wearing an orange sweater and black leggings replied. Can we get your autograph? The second girl, who wore a pink shirt, hurried over to the booth where they were sitting. With puppy dog eyes that could have been melt the coldest master's hearts. Sure, Dusk exclaimed. Anybody got a paper and pen? I've got some, I believe. Gus dug through his pocket and finally found a pad of paper. I've got my pen in my purse, Nia said, as she unzipped her main pouch of her purse and took one out. She handed the pen to Thorn first. We're going to be at the concert tonight, Dean informed. Yeah, we can't wait, the orange sweater girl nodded. Any chance you'll be going to another tour after this? The pink-haired teen questioned. Oh yeah, absolutely, Dusk responded. We'll be going on lots of tours. Thorn pivoted her head over to Luna, who looked very frustrated and hurt. The black-haired Hexed girl wasn't really sure if Dusk was saying was just to be pity, or if she was generally obvious to how she was agreeing to something for the whole band without consent of Luna. If Ford was so worried about the witches, she would be in range of how boorish and self-centered Dusk was acting. She never had thought if any of this would happen to them, but it felt like the fame was already starting to change Dusk into a selfish, inconsiderate narcissist. The moment that everyone arrived at the old National Center, Ford promised herself that she was going to be unshamishly the Sally side of herself during dinner tonight's concert. Creating a character of herself, she immediately had a problem when she was up on stage in front of all these people. It was something that she always needed to work on, and if she was going to try and defeat the three evil witches, then surely she had to tackle the seemingly simple task, just being herself on stage. If Thorne was being honest with herself, the actual reason to keep this issue seemed that the assistance is because of the distracted from her actual frightening issue at the hand. She had her friends being trapped by witches, and helped her to keep her mind on the concert. Each of their 19 shows felt incredibly important to her. She wanted to make sure each was right each night, and in every city they visit, which was truly memorable. So simply throughout the emotions like she had in Detroit, she wasn't the path that she wanted to continue down for the remainder of the concerts. Upon walking past the theater they'd be performing in, Thorne briefly admired this auditorium life-like style. It was quite equivalent and upscale, like a theater that you would watch an opera concert in. The girls all set up their instruments early on, so there was a lot of waiting around in anticipation for the concert. Thorne talked a bit to Luna and Dusk individually, but the energy of the band was still quite awkward. As Dusk and Luna were still not talking to each other, Luna looked even more upset to Thorne after Dusk made a comment about touring at dinner, even though she hadn't said so. At this point, there was only a few minutes before the concert, and the red velvet curtains were about to open, and Thorne had prepared herself for making sure she was Sally when performing on stage, rather than the foreign characters she had created. Before she could do that, however, Thorne realized that Thorne seemed to be really off. She sat on the stage floor, performing on stage, and anxiously twirled the strand of her hair. While Thorne could have used that time to continue solidifying her mindset of the enthusiastically, she thought it was the right time to attend to Luna's anxiety. "Are you okay, Luna?" Thorne asked. "I'm fine," Luna sighed. "You don't seem fine," Thorne challenged. "Sorry, I'll tell you after the concert," Luna promised. Before Thorne had a chance to respond, the booming announcer's voice could be heard. "Now presenting the new rock sensation have been sweeping like a country like magic these past few months. The Hexed girls." Thorne amused herself with a little bit of irony with the announcer magic-like comment that the announcer didn't know how right he was. The black-haired goth took a big inhale as the curtains rose. She tried to remember what she was going to be much of herself as she could. "I'm a Hexed girl, and I'm gonna put a spell on you," Thorne sang, feeling in the intervention and empowerment of each song as she sang in the microphone. The concert had almost concluded at this point, and Thorne had felt it was going excellently. There were times where she leaned on the crutch of playing on the character she created, and plenty of times where she would just attempted to play the character. However, she felt like Sally, at least came from somewhat when she comes up on stage, was a great triumph in her opinion. Who would have guessed it all would have taken herself on stage, and their biggest fans turned out to be evil witches. "We're gonna put a spell on all of you." The girls then chanted an illusion, as artificial smoke from the backstage filled the area. The room erupted with cheering and clapping. After the girls took a minute to bow, the curtain closed. "Wow, that was the best concert ever," Thorne exclaimed, feeling hyped up from the progress that she had made her coincidence on stage. "Hell yeah, that crowd was wicked," Dusk agreed. Thorne noticed the silence in the room that would have normally been. Luna chimed in. "What did you think of the concert, Luna?" Thorne inquired. "It was fine," Luna shrugged. "I guess." "Oh, come on," Dusk shouted. "We just had our best concert ever, and all you can say is it was fine, you guess?" "I was gonna wait till we get back to the hotel to talk to you about this, because I don't want to ruin the excited energy of the concert. But should I say it now?" Luna inquired. Sure, if you have something to say, just say it, Thorn assured. I just want to start off by saying we're still best friends, and I still love and care for you both very much. That's not going to change. I also still love and care about the band very much, Luna said. It seemed like something else was coming after, but after Luna remained silent for a moment. What are you trying to say, Dust, Luna? Thorn inquired. Please take your time if you need it. It's clear that our priorities for the band are different now, or at least Dusk's are, Luna finally spoke up. She finally looked very emotional, and tears began welling up in her eyes. If you guys love touring so much, and that's what you want to be doing all the time, I'm not sure if I could be a part of this band anymore.